Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel and thank you for tuning in. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Layla, the Lenormand reader, and today folks I want to share with you the news that my deck is finally available for sale. Thank you so much to all of you who have expressed interest in buying my cards, and I wanted to say sorry it took me so long to be able to make it available for you. I want to tell you a little bit about this here, and I also want to go over the cards with you and show you the place where you can get them from so that everything is clear. So initially, I worked with a printing company that is specialized in decks and cards and all sorts of similar things, and they produced a really nice deck for me. This is the one that I use always in my readings, and some of you might have a sample of my cards as well. I was running a few tests. It came in this carton box here with a bit of a guide here on the side. On the back side. So it is a very fine deck. It is, I've been playing with it and using it for a while now, and the cards keep really well. They also have a glossy kind of cover that makes it easy to clean and things like that. However, the reason I didn't continue and pursue with the company is because it is a company where you have to order a number of cards ahead, and you have to have them all printed, and then you have to move these cards to a place where they can be sold. So I felt that this whole system was not really efficient, and with COVID and all of that, it became really difficult. So instead, I decided to go with a different company, a company that is print on demand. So that is the idea that they print a deck only when you order one. So that way it is more efficient. I don't have to order a whole bunch of decks ahead of time, and I don't have to move the decks to a place where I can sell them. They do the whole thing. So this company is called Printer Studio, and of course I'm going to link everything in the description box. And I have to say upfront, folks, that I didn't order my own deck from Printer Studio because of the fact that I'm currently in Egypt, in Cairo, and shipping stuff into here has just been really, really difficult. I came here to actually get my stuff out of Canada because where I was traveling, it wasn't really practical. So I made a bit of a space for myself here for the time being, and I shipped my stuff out of Canada. Maybe you're aware that Canada has been in a challenging COVID situation, and I'm sort of enjoying my time off a little bit, traveling and just working on, Lenormand and things like that. So I had my stuff shipped to me to Cairo, and I have to say it's been a total nightmare. The customs are really, really difficult, and so I decided not to take more risks and waste more time and order a sample deck before I could make it available to you. But the reason I went ahead with Printer Studio is because I have ordered a deck from them before, and this is the Palimpsest deck. The Palimpsest deck is this one. This is the one I have used recently on the Tarot to Lenormand video about the cups and wands and how they compare, because the pips on the Palimpsest are so clear. So the Palimpsest comes in a plastic box, which is, I would think it's better than like a carton box, and the cards are standard. So when you start working with cards, you will find that there are some standards, in terms of size and shape of the cards. They are exactly, I'm just going to take two cards here to show you that it is the exact same size of the cards. So when I was working with Printer Studio, I told them this is exactly what I want for my cards, and when I compare it with this, the one that I had printed before, it is exactly the same in so many aspects. So the feel of the card, the thickness of the card, the slight gloss that we find on the card, and of course the size. Okay, this is a standard size. So I'm confident that you will get a really good product because I have worked with Printer Studio before, and I've ordered a deck myself from them before. So my deck has its page now on the Printer Studio website. You can order it from there. You can order them in quantities as well and resell them if you like. There is a discount on the larger the quantity you order, the cheaper it is per deck. And so it should come in a plastic box like this one. And I've preferred it over a carton box. And also, how sometimes you will find these extra cards in a deck. They're not used for anything. They're just in there. So I've created one for my deck with the information that I had on the back of the pack. So the box is transparent. There's nothing that goes on it. Whereas on a carton box, you get to print something on it. So instead of having it printed on the box, I have an extra card for you that would be the same size as everything else. And the information on that card is information about the guidebook. So with the deck, when you purchase one and you receive your deck, you will get that extra card with a link or a website address that you can type into your browser, and that will get you to input your email, and then I'll automatically send you the guidebook. So let's talk about what's included in the deck. It's just basically the cards, all 36 cards of them. It comes with the box, the plastic box, and that information card that I don't have a copy of, but it is the same as what I had on the previous one. So again, with that card, you can download the guidebook. And I can show you a little bit the guidebook. It is quite comprehensive. It covers every single card meaning and a number of card combinations, as well as how to do some readings. So it is quite comprehensive for its size, and it's definitely helpful. And of course, it's aligned with the way that I do Lenormand. I want to tell you a little bit about the design of my cards, why I've picked this kind of style. So the cards, as you can see from my readings, the readings that I do online, oh, that's the moon and sun coming up together. Isn't that nice? They are very minimalistic. So that's why I call it the Silhouettes deck, because it's really just the shape colored in with my brand color, which is this purple. And the back of the card is the L, not only for my name, obviously, but for Lenormand. I opted to not go for an actual metallic gold because the thing about the gold is that they sort of chip off after a while of using it, and you start to see, the actual paper of the card. So I went for a plain matte color instead, and that way it will last longer. And this is the same color that goes in as well for the little insets, and I've kept them small. So I went for the simple design because most of my life as a Lenormand reader, I've been using Titania's deck. And I've done a video about Titania's deck before. I'm going to link it here. You can head over to the video and watch it. Titania's deck is more colorful, but it is also simple in the symbols. It has just the main symbol of the card. Titania's deck completely omits the insets. So the insets are like we see clearly in a palimpsest deck, for example. It is the playing card that's associated with each card and the card number. And so I've opted to just keep them for reference, like very small and tiny. I have, for example, the 8 of Hearts here, and this is number 32, which corresponds to the number of the card. Because for me, in my practice, what I've done is I've assimilated the inset meaning into the main meaning of the symbol, and that's how I practice. Of course, if you want to use the pips, and I've talked about this a little bit in some videos, and I also have blog posts about it, you might like to get a deck where the pip itself is more salient, where you can see it. Personally, in my practice, I don't use the pip so much. Like I said, I've assimilated the meaning into the main meaning of the card. But who knows, sometimes maybe you want to change the visuals, you want to interact with the cards a little bit differently. You might use a different deck, and that is perfectly fine and actually enjoyable. So that's why I've kept them small. They're still here for reference, and then it's really the main symbol of the card. I like it simple. I like it minimalistic. I found that when there's less clutter on the card, I can focus more on the essence of the card. It's just how I interact with the imagery, but it doesn't mean that I don't use some decks on occasion. So for example, I like the palimpsest. I like a lot. Sometimes I'll use the more classical Lenormand, the blue and red owl. They're very small cards though, and I have pretty big hands, so that's why I like something a bit bigger. So that's it for my take on the design of the cards. And let's go ahead and run through each of the cards briefly over the table. I have a few pictures on the Printer Studio page about my cards, but if it's not the whole deck. So let's just run through the cards, and that way you know exactly what you're getting. Okay, so this is the deck. This is a very new deck, so it's still a bit slippery. When you first buy a deck, it's kind of slippery. The cards are not, they're not used. There's still quite a bit of gloss on them. and so it is very sliding here in my hands. Still, it is a brand new deck, so I thought I would bring it out so you have a good idea of what should come out of a brand new box. So let's go ahead and go through each of these cards like I said we would. This is the Moon card, the Tree, the Heart, the Mountain, the Key, the House, the Star. I think they call this a Jerusalem star. The Stork. This is the Tower, and for those of you in Canada, you will recognize that this is the silhouette of the CN Tower. The CN Tower is my favorite tower. I'm not really interested in big buildings, but there is something about the CN Tower that is so attractive. And then the other buildings that I really like are the Twin Towers Petronas in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur. So this is the CN Tower. For those of you who are in Canada, you'll probably recognize it. This is the Snake, the Man. This is the Garden. This is my take on the garden. I love this plant. The Fox. This is the Flowers. This is the Fish. It's the silhouette of a goldfish, obviously. The Dog. Here is the Cross. And the Coffin. The Clover. And the Clouds. In many Lenormand decks, the Clouds has a dark side and a light side. For me, the dark side is the one where there are more clouds. So it's this side is the one on the left, and then the lighter side is on the right. But it's not a very relevant feature for me personally, so I've kept it light. There's still a hint of it here. It's up to you. It's all good. You can use it any way you like. This is the Child and the Book and the Bird, which is a silhouette of an owl, which is also what Titania has. This is the Bear, the Anchor, the Woman, the Lily, the Letter, the Ship. This is the Scythe. It's one of my favorite shapes as a silhouette in the deck. It's so nice and slender. The Road. This is the Ring. Here is the Rider and the Mouse. This is the Whip, and this is the Sun. So obviously I went through the cards. They weren't in the classical order of Lenormand. I played with this deck and they weren't in order. So these are the overview of the silhouette deck cards. Let me know of any thoughts or feedback you might have for them. So thank you so much again for your enthusiasm and your interest in having my cards. I really hope the process with Printer Studio goes really smoothly. In all cases, if anything is off or you have questions about anything, please reach out and I'll follow up on this and we'll make sure you get your deck. So thank you so much for tuning in, folks. As always, I'm really grateful that you are part of this community. Please leave me any thoughts and comments you might have, and I am looking forward to our next video together. Thank you so much for tuning in.